Hello Year 9. This help video will help you with task 2.30 in your medicine workbook. So if you can find the task for me and then hit play, we'll get started. In this activity, we're going to think about this question: how significant was smallpox vaccination? This means, how important was it? When we're deciding how significant something is, we need to have some measuring criteria that we can use to judge. Now, in this case, we are judging the significance of a medical improvement. So here are three criteria that we could use. Firstly, did it save lives? Secondly, did it change people's attitudes and behaviour? And finally, did it lead on to other discoveries and further progress towards other medical improvements? So your first task now is this. I want you to read this piece of text in your workbook. You're going to read about the short-term impact and the long-term impact of the smallpox vaccination. While you're reading, I want you to highlight each bullet point in two colours. In one colour, I want you to highlight evidence that the smallpox vaccine was significant. In another colour, highlight evidence that the smallpox vaccine was not significant. Pause the video and do the reading, and when you're ready, click play again. So let's see how you got on. Firstly, let's look at the short-term impact. These are my answers. What I want you to notice here is that in the short term, smallpox vaccination was far more significant outside of Britain. For example, in France, where the French leader vaccinated his whole army to keep them safe from the disease. But in Britain, in the short term, vaccination was much less popular and there was a great deal of opposition to it. Now let's look at the long-term impact. These are my answers. As you can see, over the long term, smallpox vaccination was far more significant. It became accepted in Britain as a normal part of life, and opposition to the vaccination decreased. More people began to get vaccinated, especially after the British government made it compulsory. And Jenner's work even inspired other scientists to search for other vaccines. However, it is important to note that the smallpox vaccination did not lead directly to any other vaccines, because most diseases don't have a similar, less deadly version, like smallpox does with cowpox. However, in the very long term, the smallpox vaccine was incredibly significant, because by 1979, the disease was wiped out completely worldwide. And that's why we no longer face smallpox as a deadly disease today. In the final part of the task, you're going to write a brief answer about how significant was smallpox vaccination. Here's what I want from you. I want you to write one paragraph giving a balanced answer to the question. I want you to include evidence and examples to support your point. And for those, you'll need to look back at the text which you read before. I also want you to try and use our criteria for measuring significance and try to refer to them in your work. I'm going to give you 3 sentences to help you with your answer. Your answer is going to start with this sentence: smallpox vaccine was more significant in the long term than it was in the short term. Then, in the first part of your answer, you're going to write about the short-term significance of smallpox vaccine, and you could use this sentence to get you started. In the second part of your paragraph, you're going to write about the long-term significance of the smallpox vaccine, and you could use this sentence to get you started. Remember, if you need to, you can go back to your text and read it again, or you can rewind the video and listen once more.